Kenny Pugh, want to welcome you to my webinar on how to rebound from financial challenges. How to rebound from financial challenges. My name is Kenny Pugh. As I mentioned, I'm a life and business strategist. I specialize in helping people move beyond average in regards or with regards to their money, their business, and their relationships. So today we're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about how to rebound from your financial challenges, things that might have transpired in your past, and you're trying to figure out how to get back on track or how to really establish yourself financially based off of some setbacks that you might have had in your past. And so we're going to try to dive into this and go a little bit deep, because I want to make sure that I cover a bunch of different areas with regards to that. And I want to make sure that I address your questions along the way. So if you could please, as we're going through this, if you have any questions, type those into the question box that you have access to for those of you who are watching by way of Google Hangout or by way of YouTube. So I want to make sure that you have access to posting your questions. For those of you who actually register for the webinar and are watching on the website that is allocated or dedicated to you, there's a chat room underneath the actual video playback screen that you can place your questions in that particular chat box. And I have somebody that's monitoring it, and we'll try to get your questions addressed and answered as well. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and see if we can make some progress with regard to how to rebound from financial challenges. And I want to see if I can maximize the time that we have together. I want to set the stage. I want you to go ahead and grab a pen and paper or have access to your tablet or whatever you take notes with. Go ahead and make sure that that's accessible, because I'm going to share some bullet points throughout the course of our time together today. And I want to make sure that you're able to capture those. For those of you who are interested in working with me beyond the webinar, you'll have an opportunity as well to learn about how you can work with me and getting yourself back on your feet from a financial perspective going forward. And so I'll share information about that. But the core content and the time that we're spending together is going to dive into some things that will hopefully make sense to you and hopefully have you understanding, okay, what are my next steps, or understanding what your next steps are to actually rebound from some things that might have transpired in your past. I want to just set the stage right now to let you know that no matter where you are in your financial journey, that there's still opportunity for you and that there is life after financial challenges in your life. And so let's go ahead and just set our minds at ease. I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to gather the questions that you might have so that we can address that during our time together today. And I'm availing myself throughout the course of this webinar to answer the questions that you bring up so that we can make sure that everybody has their questions answered, and the questions that you might have might be a question that somebody else wants to ask and don't really feel comfortable doing so. So I want you to feel comfortable. This is an open forum where we're going to share some information together, and that you can ultimately feel comfortable moving into the next step that you need to take. And so with that being the case, as I mentioned, the chat rooms are open. If you have questions that you want to ask, I'm going to share my screen because I have a presentation or a training that's prepared for you. And we're going to see how much we can cover during our time together today. I usually jam-pack this stuff so that I can give you as much information as possible and to take advantage of our time together that we have here today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into our presentation that we have and the training that we have set up, and we're going to see what we can get accomplished together today. All right, you should be able to see my screen now. You should see how to rebound from financial challenges, and this is hosted by yours truly, life and business strategist Kenny Pugh. And let's go ahead and see what we can get accomplished together today, because it's important for me to make sure that we are taking advantage of all of the time that we have together today, and that I'm maximizing the information that I'm able to share with you so that you can get the most out of our time together. So let's go ahead and jump into it. How to rebound from financial challenges. And I am your host, life and business strategist Kenny Pugh. And who am I? As I mentioned, I'm a life and business strategist. I write for blackenterprise.com. I'm also a contributor, or was a contributor to Headline News, and had a chance to go in there and speak about business and money and relationships. And so all of my favorite things, I got a chance to go on Headline News and share some perspective on. My brand is KTP Financial, and that's the brand in which I host workshops and different sessions like this to empower people to go beyond their current situation, to make progress, and hopefully take your life to the next level, because that's what it's all about. It's about making sure that you are able to move forward and feel comfortable moving forward with rebounding from whatever situation that you've gone through. And so my experience, I'm a former mortgage consultant. I'm a budget and credit expert. I'm a financial services industry expert. And so I've had a chance to, throughout the course of my career, work with institutions like SunTrust Bank, Bank of America, Wachovia, Wells Fargo. I've had a chance to work with a lot of different institutions. And so I've had a chance to really understand the model of the financial models, and how people can be successful from a financial perspective, and to really redefine and recreate themselves after they've gone through some challenges. And that's what we'll talk about today. And here's how you can contact me. If there's an interest in connecting with me, you can connect with me by way of my website, kennypugh.com, Facebook, Kenny Pugh, Twitter, follow me at Mr. Kenny Pugh, Instagram at Kenny Pugh, YouTube at Kenny Pugh as well. And the webinar hashtag for today is starting over. It's starting over. The webinar hashtag, if you want to share information out there, the hashtag is starting over. And that's what we're talking about: how to rebound, how to start over from financial challenges that we might have experienced in our past. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and see what we're going to accomplish today. This webinar will review some of the fundamental concepts of financial management and credit management in order to position you for a healthy financial future. So that's what I want to do. I want to make sure that you're positioned for success from a basic financial management perspective. And I also want to make sure that you understand the importance of credit, because a lot of times the financial challenges that you have gone through have also impacted your credit. And we want to make sure that you are in a position to get back in order as far as both of those areas are concerned: basic financial management as well as credit management. And so this is signed sincerely your second chance. We all are in need of additional chances at different points in our lives. And so this is your second chance when it comes to your finances for a number of you. And so let's see what we can accomplish during our time together today. And as always, the chat rooms are open, and I want to make sure that you are able to express yourself and share your thoughts and your questions using that tool. The story is this: you grow up, you get your high school or college degree, you start your introductory or your dream job, you continue the journey of being an adult. Everything seems to be going well in life, and then life circumstances interrupt. Life's circumstances interrupt. And so you get your degree, you think you're doing everything right, you get your first job, your introductory job, your dream job, you continue the journey of being an adult. Everything seems to be going well, and then boom, life circumstances interrupt. What are life circumstances, you might add? Well, you might get laid off. And that's that pink slip, that dreaded pink slip that some people have the unfortunate experience of receiving. You get laid off. You get divorced. So happily ever after wasn't happily ever after. Some people have to go through this process of getting divorced because that marriage was not all that they thought it was going to be, or they went through some abuse, or it wasn't the right fit. And so circumstances and life situations happen. And so you get divorced. You could get into an accident without medical insurance. And I know some people that have gone through this unfortunate experience. And so that might be your story. Your story might be getting laid off. Your story might be getting divorced. Your story might be getting into this accident without medical insurance. And so what happens when that takes place? You know, it's not easy to pay for medical bills or anything like that when you've gone through an accident without medical insurance. Here's another aspect that you might be able to relate to: that you have a new unexpected addition to your family. You know, the little one that looks up to you, the one who's looking for guidance, the one who is ready for you to make sure that all their needs are met. That might be the case, but you might not have planned that situation coming into your life. So that could be the unexpected addition to your family. That could be part of your story. This could be part of your story: foreclosure or bankruptcy. Things happen. As a part of that job layoff, you couldn't afford to pay your mortgage any longer. And so you ended up going through a foreclosure, or your bills began to mount to a place where you had to ultimately file bankruptcy. That could be a component of your story. If that's your story, if any of these pieces resonate, then you need to stay tuned as we continue forward. And finally, I tried to list out a number of them, but that's not all of them. You can actually insert your own personal issue here, whether it is a move, whether it was a death in the family, whatever that particular issue or challenge that you faced was, you could actually insert your issue there, and that will be a part of your story. No matter what walk of life you come from, life circumstances has the ability or can interrupt you. And so we interrupt this message to bring you a special announcement that no matter where you are in your journey of life, that life circumstances can interrupt you and can send you off on a path that you never thought you'd have to go through. And so keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Understand that you are not alone as it relates to this journey called life. You're not the only one that has gone through divorce. You're not the only one that's been laid off. You're not the only one that's gone through foreclosure. You're not the only one that's gone through bankruptcy. You're not the only one that has been at a place financially that you don't know where your next meal is going to come from. That's stuff that's experienced by people each and every day, and you cannot consider yourself to be alone in the process. And so today we're going to take a look at ways that you can get yourself back in order, get organized, and start focusing on how to move forward. Because life is now over, right? No. Life does not end at the point where life circumstances enter into the equation. It's just something that you're going to have to overcome. It just becomes a part of your story. And at the end of the story, we want you to be victorious. We want you to win. I want you to win. So don't allow the previous circumstances of your life to dictate how you move forward with your life. You are not finished yet. You are going to be positioned to win. And so the transformation is this. You just have to change how you look at your situation. I call this the mindset shift. And so you have to be encouraged because there is opportunity after circumstances actually intrude into your life. And so I want you to realize that once again, you are not alone. You are not by yourself, and that there is a way to move beyond the financial challenges of your past. And so we're going to take a look at some of these things: setting goals, understanding the basics of finances, managing your budget and expenses, and then managing credit, because all of these play a part in how you move forward with your financial life. And we're going to try to cover as much as possible during this session together. I will share how you can work with me going forward if that's something that you desire to do, because we are trying to position you to win financially. So let's take a look at setting goals. The definition of a goal is actually the purpose toward which an endeavor is directed. And so we need to know what we're trying to accomplish so that we can put a plan in place to work towards accomplishing those things. And so if you're trying to get your finances back in order, we need to know what your goals are. We need to make them specific. We need to make them measurable. We need to make them actionable. We need to make those repeatable. And we need to make those time-based so that you have a method to your madness as you move forward. So we need to create some goals. And so why are financial goals a necessity? Why are they necessary? So that you can remain faithful with the resources that are assigned to you and your family. You need to have a goal in place so that you realize it's needed so that you can remain faithful with the resources assigned to you. If you don't have goals and you just go around and just spend and spend and spend without understanding the goals that you have in place, or without any goals in place, then it's going to lead you to a place where you're going to run into a brick wall. And that's not what we want. You need to have financial goals to remain faithful over the resources that have been placed in your care so that you can give to others. And so I'm a big fan of not just making money and saving money for ourselves, but so that we can also be givers to others. And that looks differently for each of us. But I want you to be in such a position financially that you can donate to different causes if you want, that you have the ability to donate and provide information to and resources to missions, if that's something that you're interested in giving and donating to. I also want you to understand the necessity of financial goals is to remain focused on the desired result for you and your family. So I want you to have a end goal that you're trying to march towards, and that way we can set up a plan of action to get you there. The process of developing financial goals are so that you understand the purpose of your life and career, just understanding the purpose of your life and career, what you are doing, how much you're making, and what your ultimate goal is with regards to your life and career. And so you need to understand that when developing your financial goals. Also, you need to ignore the tradition of what has been done and be willing to seek outside counsel. So if you've struggled in the past with trying to figure out what to do financially and you just kind of winged it and it keeps leading you down to these dead ends, then we need to shift. We need to transition back to a place where you seek outside counsel. So consult a financial planner, network with other knowledgeable specialists in your areas. Be willing to reach out to someone like myself who can sit down with you and help you develop some goals and a plan of action to get you there, because that's what is going to help make you successful so that you have some accountability along the way. The foundation is this as well. What should your financial goals look like? Well, you need to stop being naive to your current situation. If you find yourself in a dire straight situation, you need to acknowledge it. You need to shift your mind to get out of debt. That needs to be one of your financial goals. You need to create a budget or a spending plan if you don't already have one in place. You need to be willing to sacrifice. So if you are currently operating in a way that's driving you to a place of being broke, you need to be willing to sacrifice. You need to be willing to get rid of cable. You need to be willing to downsize your standard of living so that you can save up some money to position you for a better future. You have to be willing to sacrifice. You need to be willing to save a little. And so when I talk about saving a little, every month you have a certain amount of income that comes into your possession. And so the goal is not to spend every dollar of it. The goal is to be able to save your piece of the pie and stop giving it to everyone else. If you don't make plans for your money will make plans for you. Your money will make plans for you, and people will actually make plans for your money. And that's not where you want to be. You want to be in a position where you take control over that. Also, one of your goals should be to destroy debt. That should be destroy. Your mindset is the second bullet point there. Your actions and the intentionality behind it is that you want to destroy it. You want to eliminate it. You want to get rid of that thing so it no longer exists in your life. And then you want to be able to save some more. And so that's the foundation. That's what your financial goals should look like. Let's take a look at understanding some of the basics of finance. You need to plan a budget, a spending plan. 9 out of 10 people in America are financial failures. They are prodigal financial managers. They do not plan to fail. They just fail to plan. And so a number of you might be able to relate to that. You didn't set out to reach a point where you had to file bankruptcy, or you didn't have any money, or lose your house, or any of those unfortunate financial experiences. You don't plan to fail. You just fail to plan. And that's where we want to get you away from. We want to get you to a place where you are now being intentional in how you plan your finances so that you can be successful, so that you do know where your money's going, so that you are assigning your money to certain things and not allowing your money to assign itself to different things. Because if you allow your money to make the decisions for you, you're probably going to be in a bad place. 9 out of 10 people in America are financial failures. They are prodigal financial managers. They do not plan to fail. They just fail to plan. I want you to prioritize. I want you to demonstrate wisdom. And then you're able to move forward with a sense of confidence, a sense of swagger. Debt. Let's avoid it. Let's find a way to avoid debt. That should be one of the top things on your goals list. Our goal should be to owe no one. But there are a couple of instances where we can leverage debt to actually progress forward. And so I put in parentheses homes and education. The average person is not going to be able to just go write a check for $300,000 to buy a home. And so many of us will have to leverage the security of a mortgage or a loan in order to secure a real estate or a property. If that's the case, your goal is to secure the property with the hopes of that home actually appreciating. So it's almost an investment vehicle for you. So keep that in mind. There are times where where debt can be a good thing, and a home is one of those things. And hopefully we're moving out of that cycle, because I know there'll be some people that watch this webinar and say, well, homes are depreciating. Well, that was just one cycle. Overall, homes tend to appreciate, and hopefully we've moved and transitioned out of that time where homes are depreciating, and now we're moving back into a place where they are at their value or appreciating moving forward. The other way that you can look at debt being a good thing, and this is after the fact, not before the fact. I'm not saying to go get a bunch of student loans, but you use loans to secure your education so that you can obtain a job, and so that you can start your career. And so if that's your story, you have to live with, you have to understand that that might be a part of the journey. And if that's part of the journey, then you have to roll with where you are today. However, let me go ahead and parenthetically pause and say, if you have the choice of avoiding student loans, please do so. Please look for creative ways to avoid student loans. Try to get grants, try to get scholarships, try to look for less expensive ways to obtain that education, whether it's going to a community college for 2 years prior to making the transition to a 4-year college to get your degree. Your diploma won't say that you graduated from XYZ University by way of XYZ Community College. No, when you get that degree, it's going to say you graduated from XYZ University. And so don't be afraid to take advantage of community college as a means to obtaining the education that you desire. And you can go there for 2 years and then transfer to the 4-year college. Share that information with your kids as well, so that they don't come out with these mounds of student loan debt like so many adults have today. Avoid debt. Don't presume that you'll always have an ability to pay, because when you get laid off, if something happens, you don't want to be dependent on always having to repay these debts. And you want to get to a place where you are debt free. Bondage to the lender. And as I mentioned before, you don't want to be in bondage to the lender. You want to be able to move forward. You want to be able to position yourself so that you can operate with a sense of freedom. What does that mean? That means some of you are in a position right now, or you might even be working today just so that you can pay bills. You're not doing what you truly love to do. You are not smiling when you go into the office every day. You're doing it just so that you can pay your bills, and that's the only reason why. And that's no way to live. We want to get to a place where you're able to pay off your debt so that you can move forward and actually do something that you truly want to do. Do something where you can smile every day. Start your business so that you can be in control of your future. You don't want to be in bondage to the lender, because that then handcuffs your ability to make some of these decisions. I mentioned before that you also want to be in a position where you can give. You can give regularly. You can give to your church. You can give to a local organization. You can give to your community. And so the goal is to be able to make as much money as you can, save as much of it as you can, and then be a giver. And so I think there's some beneficial results when you're able to position yourself to be a giver and donate to different causes and charities. That's a great place to be. Don't you want to be in a position where you can donate to certain causes, that you can take care of certain needs as they arise? You want to be able to get to a place where you can give regularly, and give without worrying about being able to take care of your own needs. We give to assist the lives of those who are unfortunate or less fortunate. Also, when it comes to financial basics, here's another area to think about: regular savings and investments. You want to put aside something for the future. So I mentioned before, every month you have a certain amount of money that comes into your accounts or into your possession. You want to put aside something for the future. The goal is not to spend as much money as you can. The goal is to be able to take care of your needs, and then also be able to, have some fun along the way within reason, but to put aside something for the future so that you don't have to work forever, so that you don't have to work until you're 85 years old and you're having to greet in one of the larger stores because you need to continue to get paid. No, we don't want that for you. We want you to be able to do the things that you want to do, and to be able to take advantage of living the life to its fullest. You shouldn't greed to get rich. You should seek counsel when it comes to savings and investments, doing the things that you want to do to be taken care of in your future. And ultimately, you want to be able to leave an inheritance to your children. Unfortunately, we have a group of people who leave behind debt and receipts, and they don't leave an inheritance. And wouldn't it be a powerful thing for you to be able to leave an inheritance for your children so that they can jumpstart their future and move to a place, man, where you can look down and smile on the fact that you were a contributor to the next generation's wealth? That's an awesome thing. Let's look at the statistics, though. 37% of marital problems stem from money. And so we want to make sure that you're not a part of that. Let's go ahead and work on getting that in order now. 70% of all consumers live paycheck to paycheck. And so if someone gets laid off, it automatically puts them in a bind because they were living paycheck to start with. And that might be your story. And if that is your story, let's go ahead and acknowledge it. Let's face reality. Let's go ahead and say, okay, I know where I am today, but I want to move out of that. The average family would need to put $1,500 of an unexpected expense on a credit card because they don't have the actual physical money to take care of it. We want to move beyond that. I want you to be able to take care of unexpected expenses when it comes up. I want you to be able to have 6 to 8 months worth of reserve funds in place just in case you get laid off. That's what you ought to want for yourself as well. 46% of Americans have less than $10,000 saved for retirement. What does that mean? That means you can't retire in peace. One of the things that I've been very, envious of with my parents is knowing that they put aside their money so that they could create their retirement, and they are living life. They're able to do whatever it is that they want to do. And it is a powerful thing to know that you can, travel when you want. You can take care of your kids or your grandkids when you want. You can donate and volunteer whenever you want. That's a powerful thing, and you want to get to that point. 46% of Americans have less than $10,000 saved for retirement, and that means that they're behind and they're going to have trouble with regards to retiring and being happy as part of that. Here's a quick, set of tips to jumpstart your savings. And so when I'm working with my clients, they always ask me, man, how can I jumpstart my savings? I don't have any money. Well, here's some tips to help you along with that. Sell some of your unused and scarcely used items. Sell them via eBay. Sell them via Craigslist. Sell them via yard sale. If you walk into your closet, a number of you have $500 in your closet that you just need to liquidate, and then that becomes the jump start to your savings. Add another stream of income into your household using skills and ideas that you already possess. So if you're a teacher, why not tutor? If you are a business person, why not consult? If you know how to do certain things, like if you're a mechanic and that's your trade, or a welder or electrician, why not contract yourself out? Use a second job, add a retail job to your current list of things so that you can free yourself up. Why not create a product that you can sell and reap the benefits of becoming a product creator and selling that product for money? You have some skills, you have some knowledge that people are willing to pay for. And so why not invest in yourself? Why not take advantage of that? With the time that you have, let's make it more useful, and let's create a way for you to generate streams of income. Why not reduce spending using intentional steps? I take a look at people's budgets all the time. And when I look at their budgets, they're spending $200 a month for cable because they have every movie channel, but they don't even watch those movie channels. They only watch 4 channels, and they're spending $200 a month for cable or satellite. Why not be intentional about reducing that bill? Why not reach out to your cable provider and say, hey, I need to look for something that's less expensive for me? Why not look at your cell phone bill that you're spending $150 a month on right now? Why not intentionally look for a way to save money there? That's another area. Why not reduce spending by stopping reducing the amount of times that you're eating out? There are so many times I look at people's budgets and they don't realize that eating out is eating into their budgets, killing their budget. And that might be you. That could be you. So every time you go and you pull up to that speaker and you say, I want a number 1, I want a number 7, I want a number 8. That money does not just magically appear. That comes out of your monthly allotment of funds that's assigned to you. And so you could find yourself in a position where you are spending $200, $300, $400 a month eating out. And if that's the case, you need to be intentional about reducing that so that you can save more money. We need to rebound from financial challenges. And part of rebounding is looking for creative ways to jumpstart your spending, reduce your spending, adding income into your household, and then selling some stuff that you no longer wear or need. I know it's a tough reality, but that's a great way to get started. You want to rebound from financial challenges? Let's start thinking creatively. Let's start looking for opportunities to move ahead and not being behind the eight ball. Let's look for ways to leverage our time so our time is valuable and we're using it to generate money. Is that you? Don't you have a skill? Don't you have something that you know inside and out, whether it's babysitting, whether it's teaching people, whatever it is that you know and that you have an expertise, you can actually use that to make money and generate income. So think outside of the box. Remove the box that people have placed you in so that you can begin to add income and start to be successful financially. Let's look at managing a budget and expenses. When it comes to budgets, you need to understand the money that has been allocated to you and your family. And I've mentioned it before. It's like every month you have this allotment that's assigned to you. I call it a pie. And everybody is trying to get a piece of that pie. Your mortgage company, your utilities, your entertainment, all of them are vying for a piece of the pie that you get each and every month. And it's your goal to protect the pie, not allowing people to just take slices out of your pie. Every time you go to a vending machine, that's a piece of your pie. Every time you go to Starbucks and get that $7 or $8 cup of coffee, that's a piece of your pie that's being taken away from you. Do I have anything against Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or any of those other places? No. But you need to know where your money is going. And if it's draining you to a point where you cannot save and you cannot achieve some of the things that you're dreaming about, then you have to make some changes. You need to think creatively for ways to maximize your budget and minimize your expenses. Like I mentioned, cable, your cell phone bills, eating out, looking at your auto insurance is something that a lot of people neglect to do. And so be willing to challenge those areas to see if there's some ways for you to save money on your auto insurance and the other areas that I mentioned. When it comes to expenses, and here's how you should look at all your expenses. You should be able to track them. You should be able to account for all the items you and your family incur. You should be able to monitor those things. You don't want to find yourself in a position where you have blown your budget due to irresponsibility. And irresponsibility means that you have not put in the measures to monitor how much you're spending. And that's an important thing. You need to be able to reconcile, to be able to settle all expenses at the conclusion of your day or your week or your month for your family so that you know where you are. And you should be able to scrutinize. Do we really need to spend money on this thing? Assessing needs versus wants. It's important for you to be able to do that. It's important for you to take a look at that exercise because it will allow you to really make some tough decisions and see where you are and determine how to move forward. And so that's a way for you to actually move beyond your previous financial challenges. Let's go ahead and put some precautionary measures in place so that you can be successful as you move forward. So we looked at setting goals and objectives. We looked at understanding the basics of finances, managing budget and expenses. Now let's take a look quickly at credit because those areas tend to impact this area. When you haven't been a good financial steward or you've experienced challenges there, then you are impacting your credit score. Let's take a look. Your credit score is a vital part of your credit health and credit worthiness. People look at your credit score to determine whether or not they're going to extend an opportunity for you to receive credit. They're going to take a look at your credit score to see if they're going to extend you credit for real estate, personal loans, or services. It's actually used to calculate rates for insurance premiums as well, and now required for the employment process. And so I want you to think about, if you're looking at it from this perspective, your credit score is impacting your ability to obtain a loan for real estate, for personal loans, for automobiles, for your insurance premiums, and it's also now required for the employment process. And so you want to make sure that you are taking advantage of that. You also need to realize that your credit score is a profile to determine the likelihood of you repaying your debt. And so that's important for you to realize as well. So make it a habit to check your score every 6 months to keep abreast of any changes. And people oftentimes ask me, well, where should they check it? Well, you need to pull a copy of your credit report using the one that's authorized by the government, which is www.annualcreditreport.com. That's www.annualcreditreport.com. And that will allow you to pull your report to see if there are any changes to your credit report. You have to purchase your scores. And so I want you to know that and understand it up front. That is a money-making opportunity for most companies. And if you do get a free credit score, it's usually with one of those models that the traditional creditors won't use when trying to extend credit to you. So you might see something called freecreditscore.com or something like that. That's a different scoring model. And that's not a traditional model that people use when they're trying to qualify you for these goods and services that we mentioned before. And so good credit leads to better interest rates, premiums, and further opportunities. And so you might be asking, how is credit scoring used? Well, it's not alone. It doesn't alone, determine whether you are extended credit, especially when it comes to houses and mortgages. But they look at your debt load, they look at your income, they look at employment. And so you need to, as part of your rebounding from financial challenges, is to obtain some stability with regards to your employment, your income, and then paying down your debt load so you look like a good investment to a lending institution when they're trying to assess you. Your credit score provides an objective measurement of a company's risk in lending to you. It also lets you know, and I'm going to let you know this, that older credit problems don't haunt you forever. So the longer those things stay on your credit report, they begin to minimize with the ability to impact your score. So things that have been on your credit report for 5 years don't impact your score the way things that have only been on your credit report for less than 6 months. And so you have to keep that in mind as you're moving forward. Older credit problems don't haunt you forever. And you have to look at understanding the credit scoring model. How does it work? Well, it's just kind of like a mathematical equation that really processes the information that the credit bureaus collect on you. And so credit scores range from 300 to 850, and the national average is around 689. And so that's the last I researched and checked. It's around 689 or 687. In order for credit to really be a score to be calculated for you, you need to have had open an account for at least 6 months before it starts to really impact and influence your score. And so if you look at your scores, here is how you really boost your score. Understanding this FICO distribution is very, very critical for you to realize how to boost your credit score. Your pay history makes up 35% of your credit score. So how do you boost your score? You pay your bills on time. That's the first thing. Amounts owed make up 30% of your credit score. So what does that mean? You want to lower the amounts that you owe, and then that component of your credit score will be a benefit to you. And so if you have outstanding credit, I always tell people to make sure that you keep your balances less than or equal to 30% of whatever the credit limit is. So case in point, you have a credit card. It has a $1,000 credit limit associated with it. 30% of that is $300. So you want to make sure that your balance is at or below $300 at a given time, so that you can make sure that you're not negatively impacted for carrying a balance above 30%. The length of your credit history makes up about 15%. So someone who has successfully managed credit for 15 years is going to be seen more beneficially or more favorably than somebody who just established credit. So 15% of your credit score is made up of the length of credit, your credit history. New credit equals about 10%. Types of credit equals about 10%. I don't want to dive into that. But increasing your credit score, pay your bills on time, get current on delinquent bills. Paying a collection or closing an account won't remove it from your credit report. So don't think that if you send somebody a check saying, I'm paying this collection account, that they're automatically going to remove it, because they're under no obligation to do so. Now, there's some methods that you can use and implement to try to see if they'll cooperate and remove it as a part of the process, but they're not under any obligation to remove a collection account from your credit report. So you have to understand how that works as well. You need to seek a legitimate credit counselor if that's something that you're having trouble with, making ends meet. And so keep that in mind. And then I want you to keep balances low on your credit cards and revolving credit accounts. And so, like I mentioned, you want to keep that at or below 30%, at or below 30%, and see if that's something that you can make a habit. I want to make sure that you are successful on achieving that, because that's a great way to boost your credit scores. Also, pay off your debt rather than moving it around. Don't rob Peter to pay Paul. That is a great way for you to increase your scores as well. And, I want you to be successful with that. Pay off your debt rather than move it around. Don't close your credit cards. And so one of the things that I addressed on Periscope yesterday, one of the questions that came up was, should I close my credit cards? No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't close your credit card accounts. Don't open a number of new accounts either, just to increase your available credit. And so you just need to be mindful of how that process works. I can assist you with that because I understand it, and it's a great way to move forward and being positively influenced by your credit score, so that you can make the most of your credit score. I want to see you jump from 500 to 600, 600 to 700, and be able to move forward with a positive credit rating. Let's see. If you have any questions at this time, feel free to type those in the chat room for those of you who are watching by way of Google Hangouts, or if you're on YouTube watching this stream, feel free to type in your questions, and I'll see if I can get those addressed for those of you